Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to art class. So this morning we are going to be making a really lovely watercolor of some flowers. And these flowers are called lupine. And they are just gorgeous. They're lovely little flowers, and it's very easy to create with a neat effect with watercolor. You can make it look like a pretty professional flower. So this is a wet on dry. So I'm gonna take my wet brush, and this brush actually has a bit of a teardrop shape to it, and that helps us to get the shape of the petals. But if you don't have this shape, that's okay. You can just use whatever you have, and you can just take time to actually paint each petal. But I'm gonna use this brush as a way of getting the petal shape. So first of all, I went ahead and mixed up 3 different colors, and I have kind of a corally color, I have a pink color, and a light purple color. And those are the colors that these flowers come in. And then I've got my water, and I went ahead and sprayed my watercolors so that I can pick up some more color. But I wet my brush, and then I'm gonna dab it off on a piece of paper towel, trying to keep that nice point, okay? So if you have one of these shape brushes, you just wanna make sure that it's got that nice point so that you can start making the petal shape. So first thing I'm gonna do is dip it all the way in my purple. And then I'm just gonna start just petal, and you're just gonna work your way up. And it's almost like the shape of a pine cone. And that's what we're gonna work on. So we're just going to keep doing these petal shapes, going down, and then we're gonna come up the other side, petal, petal. And we're gonna come back a couple times on these, so it does not have to be perfect. And then I've got another one that I'm gonna do on this side. Petal, petal, petal. And these, all flowers kind of face up to the sun, right? Because that's where they get all of their photosynthesis. That's how they get all their food. So they all face up to the sun, but these guys sometimes get a little bent by the wind. So I kind of want to catch that bent look. So I'm gonna have a little bit of a bend in some of them. And again, don't worry if your petals are not perfect. We're gonna do multiple layers, so they don't need to be perfect. It's the most important thing is to make sure that there's kind of a line down the middle, almost like a feather. So we're just gonna leave that for now. Clean my brush, and we'll just move on to the next one. Okay, so I'm going to do pink, and I'm sticking my brush in pretty far into the paint and then just kind of dabbing the paint off. And so you can also make these very different sizes. Some are big, some are small. So if you find that you're really getting a nice petal shape and you're in a groove, then you can make that a nice big one, okay? And then just as we're going, one of the things that happens as you're doing these beautiful petals is you get these little spots where the paint has fallen off the brush, almost like a splatter effect, and it is absolutely beautiful. So don't be discouraged if that happens as you're working, because you're gonna want that effect. It's really lovely, and it makes it look really special at the end. So really what we want is for these beautiful little guys, we want them to be different sizes, some closer, some farther away. And it doesn't look very special yet, but I promise you it will when we're done, because this is a fun project. Just takes a little time to get the layout set up. So this one I'm gonna make our biggest. I like this kind of orange color. So I'm actually kind of pulling these so I have longer petals. And you can see it kind of gets lighter as you go up, but darker at the bottom. And that's actually what they look like in real life, so it's kind of fun. And that watercolor is gonna keep on kind of working its way down in these, which is a fun effect as well. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do is we're actually going to put our stem in. So our stem is gonna go all the way up the middle, And you can tell that some of this paint is wet and some of it is dry. So it's actually gonna force an effect here. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to just put the stem anywhere here where there's white, okay? So first of all, I'm gonna just do the bottom bit. There we go. Okay, so we have our little stems, okay? And then we're just gonna work our way up into any place where you've got some white, okay? So it's kind of an illusion that the stem is going all the way to the top. So I'm just kind of dotting it to where the petal lines are. And then I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do next. So this guy's our biggest. So I've got a big fat stem coming up through the middle. And that stem is also going to guide our shape of our beautiful lupine. This one's a really nice shape. Okay. And we're just basically dotting, just a little dot here and there, all the way up to the top, okay? And then I'm gonna take some of this green that I was using, this dark green, and I'm going to put it into my palette. Now, if you don't have a palette, you don't need one. You can use a piece of aluminum foil, you can use a paper plate, you can use a saucer, or even a little doll plate that you use at home when you play. Anything you've got that you can wash, you can use. Just make sure you ask your learning coach or your parent to make sure that you're not using something really special that's, you know, from grandma or something. Okay, so I'm just mixing up some green, and I'm gonna add a little bit of this kind of yellowy highlighter green into it, just to give it a really, right now it's a little bit, it's not very fresh green color yet, so, but I'm gonna need quite a bit of this because we're gonna do all of our leaves with this color, okay? So I'm gonna add a little bit in and get a really nice color, and then we can start. There we go, really nice and grassy. Okay, maybe a little bit more dark, and I think we're there. Okay, cool. So now I've got my green. So I'm gonna go in here real quick, and I'm just gonna do kind of the same shapes that we did for our petals, but we're just gonna go back and forth like big X's on the bottom. And that's gonna be grass, it's gonna be leaves, just a little greenery at the bottom. And if you touch your petals, that's okay. If you touch the tape, that's okay. Anything you do here is fine because you're the artist, and we just want some of this filled in with beautiful leaves so that it looks like real flowers and grass. Beautiful. Okay, so you don't want too much white in here, but we do want a little bit, and we'll go back in with some of this darker green. So now I'm just gonna pull a bunch of dark green and add it in, and we'll do another layer of color down here while we're waiting for our petals to dry, okay? So now we've got a little bit darker green. Get my excess off of my brush, and we'll just start adding that in as well. And that just gives us a little bit more depth, a little bit more color and interest as we're going. The nice thing with watercolor is you're really the boss here. So you can have some white poking through, or you can be really determined to just keep adding more layers of different color green, and that's okay too. So you're the boss, and you get to do it however you want. And I could even have it where I've got a kind of a bush on this side coming right up, but not on this side, and that's okay too. So anything you like, you can just add it in. And then we're also gonna take just small, small, small bits of this green. And lupine, they have parts where the buds have not opened yet. So they have these beautiful green bits at the top where it hasn't opened up yet. So what we're gonna do is just kind of add that color of this lupine that has not opened up yet. And just do a little line there. Give me my stem back. And then when we add our petals, our next layer of petals, we can also add some of those in here once this is dried, okay? So we're just gonna keep on adding. Beautiful. And then we can also come in here and just do a couple small leaves in these white spaces before we fill in with more petals, okay? Just some small leaves dotted up here and there, just like a real flower, okay? Just keep on adding them in, giving it some interest. There's no bad ideas. There's nothing that you can do here that would ruin it, okay? And I'm actually gonna go ahead and, I like the look of this having a bit of a bush next to it. So I'm just gonna keep that up on that side. Maybe bring it down behind it. Isn't that fun? Because I'm the artist, I can do whatever I want. So now I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna look for my driest lupine here. And I think it's gonna be this guy right here. Nope, his leaves are still pretty wet. So here's what we're gonna do. While we wait, I'm gonna put in a little bit of a sky. Now, while I'm putting this sky in, we need to be very careful, okay? Because while I'm putting this sky in, we don't wanna get anywhere near any of this lupine. But I'm just gonna do a layer of wet, and I'm gonna leave some space where my lupine is. I'm not gonna go anywhere near my flowers, guys. I'm gonna leave a nice space of white. Totally fine, it looks really good when we're done. We don't want any water messing up our beautiful petals. Now, if they do, we'll fix it, and that's okay. But if we can avoid it, we wanna do that, okay? So I'm just wetting our sky, and we'll go ahead and put our sky in while we're waiting for our petals so that we can do our next step. Okay, beautiful. Okay. All right, so we've got our sky all wet. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab some dark blue, pretty dark, and we're just gonna start at the top, like we've done in some of our landscape painting. We're gonna start at the top and just kind of work our way across, okay? And then we're gonna start at the top, grab a little bit of this lighter blue, work our way down, and it's just gonna start filling in this edge here. It's gonna start pulling down. And then we can start pulling down with some water and bringing that sky down. Now remember, if you arc it like this, if you go around where it's kind of circular here, it's gonna look a little bit like how the earth is round. And we're gonna end up picking up an idea that this is a real thing and that it's a beautiful landscape and not a painting. So I'm just gonna bring some of this blue down, not very far, bring it down. If you'd like to use some cotton balls and dab at some of this, you can get some cloud idea in there, which would be kind of a nice effect, okay? But it looks really nice. Get a little sky going in there, lovely, okay? And then if you want to, you can just come back in to the corner, a little bit more dark. Okay, and I can take my paper towel, get myself a little cloud here and here, a couple clouds. Okay, lovely. Okay, great. So I'm just going to get some clean water here. for our petals, part 2, okay? So as we're working on our petals, we just want to look for the driest guys. So again, I think this guy is our first one that we're going to do, then we're going to move over to this purple guy, okay? Get a new piece of paper towel. Okay, so I have wet my brush. Okay, I'm going to use the paper towel to make my tip nice and pointy, just like we did the first time, okay? And we're going to use this pink, grab it, and we're just going to start adding another layer of petals, okay? There's no wrong answers. You can't do anything to mess it up. We're just going to add some petals on both sides, and you can alternate it. You can make it really nice. You can go out a little farther if you felt like it needed to get fattened up a little bit. And then we can go right through this middle here. And there we go. Okay. So now I'm going to go in with our purple. Start working our way back up. Adding more petals. More and more petals. Okay. Just layer upon layer. Now this purple, I think he needs a little bit different color here. So I'm just going to add another change here. There we go. Nice. Get a little bit new depth in here. Okay. So it looks special. Okay. Very nice. Okay. And we can do that also with the pink. I think my next purple is ready over here, so I'm going to grab that. Make sure you're smoothing out your paintbrush as you go. You really want to have nice, neat points of your petals, okay? And I'm going to take it all the way to the white here. Add some blooms here at the top. I'm going to grab a bit more red and add that to my pink, darken it up a little bit so we can get a new color, a little bit more depth. Here we go, nice. Nice and dark. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, nice. All right, take my excess off here, and we're just gonna start working our petals in. Okay. And you can add some up here. Look how nice that looks with the darker color coming on. Okay. There's so much you can do with this, guys. And how easy is it? We're just dabbing and dabbing, making it really lovely. Go back in on this guy with some of our dark pink. Okay, great. Now I can take a little bit of this dark pink and add it to our orange, okay? Because we want a little bit of a darker color, and I can come back in and get some red and add it to our coral color. Just give us something new and exciting on this one. Nice. There we go. Lovely. And we're just gonna go up one last time. Beautiful. And those are our lovely lupine, guys. They turned out so good, just beautiful. And you could feel free to paint in a butterfly here or a little buzzing bee. You can do anything you want because you're the artist. But this is what I created. And here's my other one that I made earlier today. and you can make them look different every single time. But it's a beautiful piece of art and something you could really be proud of, and you could even give it to someone as a gift or frame it. It's pretty special. So I hope you've really enjoyed this lesson, and I hope you have a wonderful time making your lupine. Have a great day, guys.